There are moments when everything seems strangely aligned, as if life itself is whispering in secret. A silent order beneath the surface of chaos. You pause, and something inside asks, is this coincidence, or is existence trying to speak? The path of awakening begins not with answers, but with this subtle question echoing within. Spiritual awakening is not a journey in the world outside, but a shift in the landscape within. It is not about reaching a place, but dissolving illusions. What falls apart is not your life, but the false structures built by ego and fear. The world remains, yet you no longer see it with the same eyes. Many expect awakening to be light, bliss, or constant peace. But the truth is far more raw. Awakening often begins as loss. You lose identities, attachments, illusions. What once gave you security crumbles. And in that collapse, a deeper clarity begins to rise. The ego resists this process fiercely. It whispers, you need more. You must control. You cannot let go. And yet the very walls it builds to protect you become the prison of your soul. Awakening begins the moment you realize you are not the voice in your head, but the vast silence that hears it. Silence becomes your teacher. Not the silence of absence, but the silence alive with presence. In that stillness, thoughts no longer dominate. They pass like clouds across a boundless sky. What remains is the witness, the essence untouched by time. Awakening is not a destination, but a dismantling. Layer by layer, the masks you wear fall away. Behind them, you discover not a new identity, but the absence of identity. Pure being, the space from which all arises and into which all returns. Yet this realization is not always comforting. To awaken is also to confront the void, the terrifying vastness of existence without labels or guarantees. The ground disappears, and for a time, you may feel as though you are falling endlessly. But in that fall, something shifts. You realize there is no ground needed. You were never falling. You were floating in the infinite. The security you sought was an illusion. The freedom you feared is your true nature. Still, awakening can feel lonely. When you awaken, you no longer fit the old patterns. Conversations that once entertained feel shallow. Relationships may shift. The crowd may celebrate illusions you can no longer participate in. This solitude is the cost of clarity. Yet in that solitude you meet something profound, your true self. Not the self built by society, not the image maintained for acceptance, but the raw essence beyond names. To sit with this presence is to rediscover the sacred. The awakened path is not a straight line. It spirals. You may awaken, fall asleep, and awaken again. You may revisit lessons you thought you mastered. This is not failure. This is growth. Consciousness expands in cycles, like the tides of the ocean. Along this spiral, the heart becomes the compass. While the mind seeks control, the heart whispers trust. While the ego fears surrender, the heart knows that surrender is the only way to freedom. To awaken is to live guided by this silent wisdom. Awakening is also humility. To realize that all knowledge, all systems, all beliefs are but fragments pointing to the ineffable. The awakened do not claim to know. They bow to mystery. They live not in answers, but in reverent wonder. This is why awakening is never about superiority. It is not to rise above others, but to dissolve the illusion of separation. To see yourself in every face, every life, every breath. To awaken is to remember that all is one. Still, awakening requires courage. Courage to walk alone. Courage to lose what you thought you needed. Courage to die to who you were again and again, until only truth remains. Without this death, there can be no rebirth, and yet the reward is beyond measure. When the false self dies, the world is reborn in your eyes. The ordinary becomes sacred. A leaf trembling in the wind holds eternity. A single breath carries the weight of the cosmos. Spiritual awakening is not an escape from life, but a deeper entrance into it. You do not float away from reality. You embody it more fully. You taste, touch, breathe, and feel with a clarity that no distraction can offer. And in this clarity, compassion arises. You cannot awaken and remain indifferent. To see truth is to feel the pain and beauty of all beings as your own. Awakening is love, not the sentimental kind, but love as the very ground of existence. Awakening does not end suffering, it transforms it. Pain still comes, loss still arrives, but you no longer resist. You hold it in awareness, and in that embrace, suffering becomes teacher. Even wounds carry wisdom when seen with awakened eyes. And so, the path of awakening is endless, not a goal to reach, but a truth to embody, a silent revolution of the soul. If these words resonate, it is not chance. It is your soul remembering. Stay with us on Free Mind, and together, let us keep walking this path of awakening.